लाख करोड़ रुपया आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए लगाए जाएंगे। जीएसटी के माध्यम से हमने वन नेशन वन टैक्स उस सपने को साकार किया। एक देश एक साथ चुनाव, 3.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से भी ज्यादा रकम इस जल जीवन मिशन के लिए खर्च करने का हमने संकल्प किया। हम भारत को सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, क्या इससे देश को मुक्ति दिला सकते हैं? हाईवेज बनाने के लिए प्लास्टिक का उपयोग हो रहा है। ऐसी बहुत सी विधाएं हो सकती है।
Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. A very happy Independence Day to all our viewers. The Prime Minister, in his address to the nation from Red Fort, spoke about a strong, integrated India. Integrated with Kashmir, integrated with a common GST, and perhaps integrated as one nation, one election in the future. He also announced a massive reform in the defence sector, the post of Chief of Defence Staff. He did speak about how incremental growth wouldn't be enough to fuel India's aspirations, economic aspirations. On the show tonight, in the words of the Prime Minister, high jump needed. Tough decisions have been taken in Jammu and Kashmir, but can Modi deliver on India's economic and environmental crises within a finite period of time, 5 years?
हमारा देश आगे बढ़े, लेकिन इंक्रीमेंटल प्रोग्रेस, उसके लिए अब देश ज्यादा इंतजार नहीं कर सकता है। हमने हाई जंप लगाने पड़ेंगे। हमने तय किया है कि इन कालखंड में 100 लाख करोड़ रुपया 100 लाख करोड़ रुपया आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए लगाए जाएंगे। आज देश में आर्थिक सिद्धि प्राप्त करने के लिए बहुत ही सानुकूल वातावरण है। जब गवर्नमेंट स्टेबल होती है, पॉलिसी प्रिडिक्टेबल होती है, व्यवस्थाएं स्टेबल होती हैं, तो दुनिया का भी एक भरोसा बनता है। देश की जनता ने ये काम करके दिखाया है। विश्व भी भारत की पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी को बड़े गर्व और आदर के साथ देख रहा है। हमारे अर्थव्यवस्था के फंडामेंटल्स बहुत ही मजबूत है, और ये मजबूती हमें आगे ले जाने के लिए भरोसा देती है। आज युद्ध के दायरे बदल रहे हैं, रूप रंग बदल रहे हैं। आज जिस प्रकार से टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन व्यवस्थाएं बन रही है, तब भारत को भी टुकड़ों में सोचने से नहीं चलेगा। हमारी पूरी सैन्य शक्ति को एक मुश्त होकर के एक साथ आगे बढ़ने की दिशा में काम करना होगा। आज हमने निर्णय किया है कि अब हम चीफ ऑफ डिफेंस स्टाफ सीडीएस इसकी व्यवस्था करेंगे, और इस पद के गठन के बाद तीनों सेनाओं के शीर्षस्थ स्तर पर एक प्रभावी नेतृत्व मिलेगा। एक छोटी सी अपेक्षा आज आपसे सामने रखना चाहता हूं। इस 2 अक्टूबर को हम भारत को सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, क्या इससे देश को मुक्ति दिला सकते हैं?
All right, well, several announcements are made by the Prime Minister, several promises are made every year during Independence Day. The big issue which comes up every year, how much of this is realistic. But the Prime Minister's basic focus today was on integration at so many levels, whether it's security, integration of Jammu and Kashmir, and as I mentioned earlier on, the possibility of a common election. Joining us to look at all of this, General VP Malik, the former Army Chief, Sunita Duggal, the BJP MP, Ataullah Niazi, a former president of the Maulana Azad National Urdu University Students Union. He joins us from Hyderabad. Parvez Damania, the industrialist. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us. Chetan Singh, political analyst, and Manohar Kushalani, the former director of the National Water Academy. Thank you all very much for being with us. Ms. Duggal, let me come to you first. The Prime Minister said that we need to take a high jump. We need to go to the next level to get to that $5 trillion economy. Now, the Congress party says that where is this 100 lakh crore on infrastructure development going to come from? And then in a series of tweets, they've said all of this is rich, coming from the man, and I'm reading from this tweet, wholly responsible for reducing international investment in India, ruining trade relations with key partners, weakening the rupee to historic lows, and devastating the export industry in the country. And they ask, was Mr. Modi grandstanding? How would you respond to that?
Vishnu, I think we are already moving towards, infrastructure, the growth towards that side, because we are moving towards crowding in. In case we are investing, in case we are, putting 100 lakh rupees for the infrastructure, then obviously then investors will come, and if investors will come, then there will be employment, and if employment is there, there will be demand. Actually, what happened for the last 10 years in the UPA government, they were just switched towards from agriculture sector, from agriculture economy to the service sector. They just skipped your manufacturing sector. So we are actually, our government is emphasizing now, right now, on the manufacturing sector. So that is what the Modi ji government is thinking about, and I think they are on the right path in case they will invest in the infrastructure and they will put in the manufacturing sector.
Okay.
So they will get employment in the same way. Demand is there, and if demand is there, employment is there, and it's a virtuous cycle, you can say.
Chetan, the fact is the numbers aren't very encouraging right now. In the auto sector, for example, a possibility of 10 lakh potential job losses, 300 dealerships shut, the lowest growth in that segment in years. Industrial output has declined to 2% in June versus 7% in June 2018. Are you convinced by what the Prime Minister said on the road ahead?
See, undoubtedly, when it comes down to the auto sector, it is there in front of us. All the data is there in front of us. 19 years low we are at. And look at the job losses. You have said few numbers. And in coming months, the numbers are going to be shocking, undoubtedly. Ma'am has just said about manufacturing sector. I believe this core sector, manufacturing sector, is going through a very tough patch. One, Make in India has not worked at all. Why would I say that? Because of transfer of technology. Until you will not transfer the technology, how would you ensure?
Chetan is not necessarily correct. Make in India at many levels in the defense sector, which is really the flagship part of it, has worked very well.
Yes, you're right.
There are examples where it's not, but in many other cases, it's worked sensationally well.
See, defense, the numbers are yet to be seen in defense.
No, but the numbers, the production has started.
See, absolutely.
I can name at least 5 or 6 different programs.
See, I can talk about only one right now, that is Tata. Another, Reliance and all, I think that is under the realms of speculation right now. And third most important is the FMCG sector.
Okay.
FMCG is bleeding very hard. We know that how the consumer, their expectation and their uses has gone down. Third most important here is the aviation. Jet Airways in front of us. 25,000 people. PSUs. What not is happening?
Unemployment, right? Besides economic collapse, unemployment. That's a big
unemployment that goes 45 years high. And during the general election, before the general election, they were saying it very loudly that this data is not correct. Post-election, they have accepted by themselves. Third most is the poverty. You look at the McKinsey report came in 2-3 months back, and what that report said that every second person in our country sleep empty stomach. Arjun Sen committee report has also said that 78% people in our country live only 12 rupees a day. Now you talk about, Prime Minister ji said about tourism. He said please go down to other cities and all. Yesterday newspaper, one of the leading newspaper talks about Taj Mahal. The toilet in Taj Mahal is in that condition that cannot be used.
But let's not look at specific examples. I'm sure the toilet could be fixed. But I want, before I go back, in fact, to Mrs. Duggal and introduce my other panelists, I wanted to go across to Mr. Parvez Damania. Mr. Damania, is it your sense also that in an Independence Day speech, the Prime Minister tries and all Prime Ministers have done this, to show hope or to indicate to people that there is hope, that there is a future, that there is prosperity around the corner. And to that end, if you've got a Prime Minister making aspirational statements, then that's pretty much par for course. But is it necessarily the problem just of Prime Minister Modi, or is it the problem that we've seen year after year, decade after decade, when Independence Day is an occasion when Prime Ministers exaggerate?
No, I think the speech was very, very good. I think he covered all aspects. He just didn't cover the financial aspect and the growth aspect of the country, but he covered mainly the rules that they brought about, the changes they brought about, what effective laws they passed within a period of last just 10 weeks, the scrapping of the Article 370, 35A, the bringing about the scrapping of the triple talaq law. So I think he has showed a way that if a Prime Minister is determined and he has the majority, he can bring about changes in a record time.
No, but from an economic standpoint, are you convinced by that $5 trillion slogan? Are you convinced about 100 lakh crores on infrastructure? Where is the money going to come about?
No,
the talk of doing ease of business. Yeah, all of these slogans.
I followed on the... See, I am sure he says that this kind of majority is never achieved. And with this kind of majority, there will be tremendous amount of decisions that he'll be taken record time. See, the $5 trillion economy did follow in the budget speech also. It is a tough call, and he admits that it's a tough call. And he says that if everybody works toward the $5 trillion economy, it's achievable. But I think in this speech, he just didn't cover the financial aspect. He covered a lot more aspect, the issue of the farmers, the support of the flood victims. He covered a wide range of sectors.
So perhaps it's not the perfect venue
one very
to spell out the details, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but he did say that we have to support the wealth makers. He's saying if the wealth makers are supported, in turn the system will work downwards and the money will trickle downwards. So he's very clear that people who are doing business, are industrialists, they need to be supported, which is, I think, very important. And he feels that infrastructure is very, very important. I know what you're saying, that we don't know where the money is going to come from, but he's very, very clear that money has to be pumped in infrastructure. He says the aspiration of the people have changed. They're not just satisfied with a road or a railway station. The aspirations have gone much bigger than that. And to fulfill those aspirations, he's going to do everything possible.
Okay, well, we can
well-delivered speech.
So
covered
Mr. Damania, we can only live in hope, I suppose. We can only live in hope at this juncture because the numbers are frankly quite worrying. I don't think anybody would necessarily disagree with that. But just one moment, I want to go across to look at the other aspects of what he said.
No, I agree with you.
Yes. General Malik, this is something we've discussed many times in the past, reform in the defense sector. What he announced today, the Prime Minister, in terms of the creation of the post of Chief of Defence Staff, how will this actually potentially make our Army, Air Force, Navy much more efficient in working together? At the moment, at many levels, they don't do that.
आवाज कट गई.
Go ahead, General. Can you hear me now?
हो क्या रहा है आज?
Can you hear me, sir?
No, okay, go ahead. I couldn't hear your question. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sir, the importance of the post of Chief of Defence Staff to you.
Well, I think it's very important, and I'm so glad that the decision has been taken. As you know, this point has been under consideration for over 20 years now. And let me go back to what the Kargil Review Committee had said and what the group of ministers report in 2002 had also endorsed. They said that the Chiefs of Staff Committee, as exists at present, it is not capable of giving a single point military advice. Second, there are many differences in strategic issue, on doctrinal issues, and even on operational employment issues, which are not, the Chiefs of Staff Committee is not able to resolve. And the third, more important point is that the defense planning, it tends to be more competitive and therefore uneconomical. It's not holistic. So one has been waiting for this kind of change to come about in our organization. Incidentally, almost all the big countries, democratic countries, they have a CDS system, because CDS system ensures unity of effort, better integration, better jointness, and with the kind of strategic environment that exists today, we need that. We need to go together rather than, as you recall, in Kargil war, we had Operation Vijay from the army, Operation Talwar from the navy, and Operation Safed Sagar from the Air Force, despite the fact that there was a Chiefs of Staff committee and we were working together.
Right.
But the thinking was different. The thinking was service-wise, and that is where. So I'm so glad that this step has been taken now, and it was absolutely essential to my mind.
General, one final question before I let you go on this particular aspect. There has always been this element of rivalry between the three services. The army has always believed that the post of the first Chief of Defence Staff should go to the army. Is that your belief as well?
No, I don't believe in that. I think what is more important is the objective, the aim, that we three services have to be together, we have to be integrated. So let the best man come, whether he is from the army or navy or the air force, and I'm sure the political people who will take a decision, they will keep that in their mind, and it will be based on merit and not so much on the kind of uniform that one is wearing.
Okay. Ataullah Niazi joins us from Hyderabad. Ataullah, you've got family in Kashmir. A large part of what the Prime Minister spoke about today was on Kashmir. Did you or were you hopeful that there would be some indicator from the Prime Minister on the easing of restrictions in the Kashmir Valley? It is periodically getting better, but do you believe this was the stage for the Prime Minister to perhaps reach out more?
देखिए, जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब की जो पूरी स्पीच थी उसमें जो जम्मू कश्मीर को लेके उन्होंने कुछ अनाउंसमेंट की जी, उसमें सबसे पहली चीज जो उन्होंने कही थी कि जो आर्टिकल 370 था, ये सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल जो आयरन मैन ऑफ इंडिया है उनका ख्वाब था, उसके तई हमने उसको रिवोक किया है। लेकिन ये एक सबसे बड़ा झूठ जो आप देखेंगे जो हिंदुस्तान के प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने कहा है, क्योंकि जब आर्टिकल 370 को जब लाया गया था उसके बाद जब नेहरू साहब जो है वो अमेरिका में थे तो वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने जो है आर्टिकल 370 को डिफेंड किया था।
अताउल्ला, आप एक चीज बताइए, देखिए ये 370 का डिसीजन हो चुका है, बाइफर्केशन अब होने वाला है। मैं सिर्फ आपको ये कह रहा हूं कि जो कम्युनिकेशंस के प्रॉब्लम है कश्मीर वैली में, फोन कॉल्स नहीं किए जा सकते, ब्रॉडबैंड नहीं है, आज आपके ख्याल से एक अनाउंसमेंट होना चाहिए था जहां प्रधानमंत्री कहते कि देखिए ईजिंग ऑफ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस जो है अब से शुरू होना चाहिए। आप और आपके परिवार इसके लिए इंतजार कर रहे थे।
बिल्कुल रियासत जम्मू कश्मीर के तमाम लोग आज की जो आजादी का दिन था उस दिन इंतजार कर रहे थे कि उनको भी कहीं ना कहीं उनकी आवाज जो अपने लोगों से बात करने की, या आप वो क्या सोच रहे हैं आर्टिकल 370 को लेके, कहीं ना कहीं कम्युनिकेशन चला के उनकी आवाज को बाहर लाया जाएगा, उनको भी बोलने की आजादी दी जाएगी। तो ये सिर्फ मेरी फैमिली या मैं नहीं, लेकिन रियासत के पूरे लोग आज इस उम्मीद में थे कि प्रधानमंत्री साहब जो अपने आज आजादी के दिन जो है इस चीज का अनाउंसमेंट करेंगे। लेकिन बड़ी बदकिस्मती की बात है कि आज के दिन भी उनको बोलने की आजादी नहीं दी गई। तो ये जो एक मसला है क्योंकि कम्युनिकेशन का, तो आज भी लोगों की एक डिमांड है, क्योंकि जो आवाज आज दबी हुई है वहां पर, जो आवाज उनकी सामने नहीं आ रही है, कहीं ना कहीं वो चीज कम्युनिकेशन के जरिए ही बाहर आ सकती है। लेकिन आज चाहिए था कि प्रधानमंत्री साहब इस चीज को अनाउंस करते, और जो ये दावा करते हैं, जो एक उन्होंने दावा किया था कि वहां के लोग बहुत खुश हैं हमारे इस डिसीजन से, तो आज ये कम्युनिकेशन को चालू करके कहीं ना कहीं उनकी आवाज को, उनके ओपिनियन को ये ला सकते थे कि पूरे हिंदुस्तान और दुनिया के सामने। लेकिन जो बड़े अफसोस की बात है कि इन्होंने नहीं किया।
ओके, लेट मी जस्ट टेक दैट टू मिस दुग्गल। मैम, डू यू बिलीव दैट, you know, on the one hand, the Prime Minister standing on the ramparts of Red Fort cannot decide a local issue as far as law and order in a area. If restrictions are removed, what will happen? But while he strongly endorsed the integration of Jammu and Kashmir, while he spoke strongly about the law against instant triple talaq in the context of the rights of women in Kashmir, for example, do you believe that this could have been an opportunity for Mr. Modi to reach out to people in Jammu and Kashmir more than he did?
Actually, Vishnu, what I think, you know, this is the decision taken by the Parliament of Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha, and everybody is happy that it is for the last 70 years, everybody is saying that 370 that has been abolished is right, that is right, it is not wrong, but they are just, you know, only a bunch of people from Kashmir, they are saying, what about Jammu people, what about Ladakh people? I think you must have heard the Namyangyal MP from
yes,
Ladakh.
Yes.
है ना? तो आप you just listen them, or it's a you know voice of all the people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. A bunch of people just saying that this is wrong. I don't think that this is a.
I think, but what about the possibility of, what about dissent and the fact that dissent is part of who we are? We are a raucous democracy, and the voices of dissent in Kashmir have been shut down for law and order reasons. Should there not have been some sort of effort, Ms. Duggal, in assuring people that sooner than later voices of opposition would be back as well, if they exist?
Certainly, no doubt at all, because you know it was UPA. The name itself says that United Progressive Alliance, means they were unitedly progressing themselves, and our government is NDA, National Democratic Alliance. We believe in democracy, and that's why we are saying that whatever has been done is it's good for everybody.
But ma'am, a lot of
Jammu,
people would
Kashmir,
say there is
well
no democracy if politicians are behind bars, but I think we can discuss that at a separate time. What I want to actually do is look at the last point of my focus today with Manohar Kushalani, and that is the entire issue of water. Would you welcome, Mr. Kushalani, what the Prime Minister has actually had to say, that finally there appears to be a realization that we are in deep trouble when it comes to water? In some places we have none, in other places we've got too much, and that unless there is some sort of policy and you know, which goes beyond just being a word, you know, it needs to be substantive, then we've had it going forward. Water security most important.
Yeah, I think Prime Minister has been very responsive to the way he took on Swachh Bharat issue, the same way he is taken on the Jal Shakti issue, and the amalgamation of ministries dealing with Ganga, with Ministry of Water Resources dealing with the design and presentation of all the water resources in the country, and even sanitation. So all these things have been merged into one ministry, Jal Shakti ministry, which creates a kind of focus and creates, just as there has been one single chief of defense staff. So there is a one single organization which is going to handle all these issues. One very big issue that was happening with water was that water was a state subject, and what is happening with state subject is the same river is flowing through 5 or 6 states, sometimes 2 or 3 states, and each state on the basis of political their own satisfying their own electorate, they were fighting with each other. Actually, the correct way of managing any river is managing it as a basin, which transcends all the states. And if basin management is done for any river, then issues related to which people need it most, it does not matter which state it is. And so these tribunals which were there, and probably it will be better if some technocrats handle these tribunals, you know, like environmentalists, like engineers.
Okay.
You know. So those are the kind of people who should handle these tribunals. Water should be a central subject because it belongs to all humanity.
Do you believe, Mr. Kushalani, and I know Chetan has his hand up, do you believe that there needs to be some sort of law to enforce rainwater harvesting? The Prime Minister spoke about that in the context of water conservation.
Yes,
that again, you know, I mean 3.5 lakh crores in years to come, but on the ground we still need to wait to see what that translates into.
Vishnu, I built a water harvesting structure in my house way back in 2003. And in my own colony, only 2 other people followed my example.
Right.
You know, so the thing is that the water harvesting has to be done by every individual. And the most important thing is that the water from the roof water harvesting is the cleanest, because the roof water is cleanest. It is as good as filtered water.
Yes.
So therefore, roof water harvesting has to be done, and therefore it requires public participation. Every house, every household, small bungalows, huge structures, public buildings, everywhere water harvesting to be done. And the Niti Aayog report brought out the fact,
yes,
that 70% of the water underground water got contaminated. So care has to be taken that water harvesting is done in such a way that the water is filtered properly, clean water goes into the ground.
Right.
Right now, this is not being monitored. How once you build it, once you dig a tube well for harvesting the water, then you don't know whether it has been filtered properly or not. Another issues, one small point I want to raise.
Yeah, just quickly because
people are allowed to dig deep into the, once you dig a tube well, there is no way of controlling how dig you deep. For water harvesting, you need a bore well only up to the first level at which the aquifer is there. You don't need to take it deeper. So it should not be misused. See, builders were allowed to, in the previous the builders were allowed to build a tube
Mr.
well.
Kusharani, I think you've raised a lot of points over here, but I think we all welcome the fact that the Jal Jeevan mission, which resolves to spend 3.5 lakh crores in the years to come, is a very, very welcome step. Let's hope that it actually translates into something substantive on the ground, because in as much as we speak about security, in as much as we speak about defense sector reform, water security is perhaps as important as any form of security
And
in
Vishnu,
our country.
I just want to add one small
We are
point about
completely
section
out of
370.
time on this program, but water security and other aspects, all of that we'll look at very, very closely. I'd like to thank all my panelists very much for being with us, and a happy Independence Day once again to all our viewers.